and
Yeah.
Vitaly, was making gestures, disrespectful gestures. So that guy was the secretary of the Department of Interior Local Government, who has jurisdiction over the local government units here, over the police, and so on. So
Okay.
the last articles I was able to read, they've already filed cases against him, and that he's in detention with the Bureau of Immigration.
Clearly, I'm way out in the deep end here, so I decided to contact the practicing Filipino attorney and YouTube creator, attorney Neil Abayan. And here he had
Oh
a lot of
yeah.
information to share with us in regards to how the legal process in the Philippines works and how big of a mess Vitaly accidentally landed himself into is. How was the reaction within the Philippines of what Vitaly did?
So first, it was pretty much covered by the mainstream media. That's why there were
I wanna
interviews
know.
conducted against the government officers. So one of the most viral, or is it viral is the proper term? One of the videos or interviews that was heavily covered was with the Secretary of Interior Local Government here. The one that when Vitaly was brought behind him, and
Yeah.
Vitaly, was making gestures, disrespectful gestures.
Yeah.
So that guy
I
was the
mean,
secretary of the Department of
he
Interior
was
Local Government, who has
everything
jurisdiction
but
over the local
respectful,
government
man.
units here, over the police, and so on.
Is there a lot of pressure from the Philippines to
You know,
essentially
I had
actually
sorry,
punish
I
this
had
guy
lots
for
of
what he
people
did?
I'm sure the
questioning
government is going to
if
punish or do everything
Vitaly is
that they can
indeed
against
going to be
Vitaly to
arrested and this and
help to
that.
hold him accountable or
And
liable.
I
So Vitaly
kind of
just stumbled
understand to one
into
degree
being a
because we
pawn in
have
some
lots
political
of
game
people
potentially.
nowadays, like
Yes, that could
artists,
be one thing.
So what they did there,
influencers,
that is
like
not normal
treating the
for
world like
criminals
it's
to be
their
brought out like that.
stage, if
Yes,
you
because
understand what I
first and
mean.
foremost, Vitaly is not
So,
the only
yeah,
foreigner who was
man,
declared as
I
an
don't know. I
unfavorable
don't
alien,
know.
you know.
But
Okay.
But
that's why
because
I
of what
wanted
he
to
did,
react
he
to this.
covered it in his social media. He conducted live streams with it.
Yeah.
So they treated him extra special, basically.
Wow. What's the ongoing process he's currently going through?
There isn't really that much updates from the mainstream
Shout
media
out to
news
Tozi,
outlets
by the
here
way,
because they
man.
covered it for like a week. Then after that, it basically died down already. So
Okay.
the last articles I was able to read,
There are a few
they've already
people
filed
that
cases against
are
him, and
really
that he's in detention with
trying to
the
cover
Bureau of
this from
Immigration.
all
So I'm
angles.
assuming he's undergoing
A
deportation
Tozi,
proceedings together with
Ryan the
criminal
Lion,
charges. So just to give you an idea, for
Unlock
the criminal cases
Philippines.
that was already
Man, shout out
most
to
likely
all of
filed
you.
or probably will be filed against him, from the news articles I saw, it's basically bailable offenses that they
Okay.
charge him with: the unjust vexation and a couple of theft cases. Those are all
Yeah.
bailable crimes here in the Philippines. So what's going on also, since he's most likely also undergoing deportation proceedings with the Bureau of Immigration, the right to bail is not automatically guaranteed in
Yeah.
deportation proceedings, because a deportation proceeding is not a criminal case. So
Okay.
there's already decided cases for
Hmm.
that with the Supreme Court. So basically, my point here is that Vitaly will not be automatically be released while the deportation proceedings is undergoing together with the criminal cases.
Ooh.
Okay.
If that
So
makes sense.
yeah, so he won't be let go on bail currently.
For the deportation proceedings,
Yeah,
no.
because that's
Because
what
Okay.
again,
some of
deportation
the
proceedings are
people
not
were
criminal in
telling
nature,
me
so bail is
on my
not a
comment
matter of
section.
right
Oh, he's
in
going to be
deportation
out in a
proceedings. It's
couple
not
of days
automatic.
and all this.
Unlike
Man,
if they don't
I
conduct
don't
the deportation
know.
proceedings, they just go with the criminal cases against him. Like I said, the cases that were filed against him or will be most likely filed against him are all bailable, so they can release him on bail. So that's most likely
Hmm.
why he is under currently the jurisdiction of the Bureau of Immigration, so that he won't be able to, bail to apply or post bail right away for the criminal cases.
When is the nearest time he'll be able to essentially bail out or be somewhat free? When do you think that would be?
For the deportation proceedings, there's no bail there. So it's totally discretionary on the Bureau of Immigration if they want to,
Hmm.
temporarily release him while he's undergoing the deportation proceedings. For his criminal cases, once it is filed with the prosecutor level,
I
he can
mean, being
already file
deported
a motion for
would
bail
be
for
the
that.
best case
However, we have to
scenario
remember,
for
since
this
he's
guy.
also most likely, or he's probably undergoing also deportation proceedings, he will still be detained in the Bureau of Immigration, even if he will be allowed to post bail
For
for
how
the
long?
criminal cases. Those are two different cases,
Yeah.
actually. That's why I'm trying to differentiate it. Hopefully, I'm
Uh-huh.
able to explain it in in a simple and understandable way.
How long will it take for his trial to
Yeah.
start, do you think?
Generally here in the Philippines, if it's in the investigation level, in the prosecutor level, let's say it takes minimum probably fastest 6 to 8 months. During that time, that's still the
Okay, a year.
investigation of the prosecutor level. However, in Vitaly's case, since he's already under detention in the Bureau of
Oh
Immigration,
yeah,
then he's already deprived of his liberty at present, even without the proper criminal cases filed. Because again, I'm assuming
yeah,
he's
but
also undergoing
it's already
deportation proceeding. There's no
counting, if you understand what I
current
mean.
new developments, new articles that they are releasing about him. That's why I'm not fully aware what the status of his cases already. These are all based on my assumptions as a lawyer,
Yeah.
because I have an idea of how the deportation proceedings work, how the criminal cases here work.
Hey yo, what's up guys? So I wanted to react to this video, especially because there was a lot of confusion on the comment section on my latest upload. So I thought listening to Neil Abayan, he's a content creator and also an attorney, would be an awesome idea. So I saw lots of people were a bit confused with the title. Up to 25 years? How? He hasn't even gone to court yet. Exactly, but I'm sure you've noticed. The governor and other specialists have talked about it. I'm sure all of you guys already saw the list of crimes he committed. It was pretty easy to keep track on that. I mean, he recorded the whole thing. And that's how most of these specialists, especially the ones from the Philippines, could take a guess more or less on how much time will he get.
He will stay in the detention facility until his criminal cases start, most likely.
He will stay there
Alright.
even if his criminal cases have
I
not yet
hope
started.
so.
He will still stay there because again, he's most likely undergoing also deportation
Yeah.
proceedings. Basically, from how I see it, the government is doing everything they can to detain him. Because
Yeah.
if they will just stick with the
Yeah.
criminal charges, he will just post bail,
Makes
then
sense.
he will be free. Yeah. In cases like this, the most common thing, or yeah, generally what governments usually do, they just detain the undesirable alien for a couple of days, weeks,
Yeah.
probably. Then they just
With
deport
anything
him.
they can.
But here, that's not the case. They want him to be held liable fully for the criminal charges, and then they're playing around with the deportation proceedings. I'm assuming now to maximize the detention of him during the
Exactly.
pendency of the cases.
If you were to guess, what do you think his sentence would roughly be?
For the cases that were filed, it's very minimal, just like a month for
Interesting.
each, theft. A month or 2 months detention the most. So unjust vexation, that's the lightest of all crimes here in the Philippines. Basically, if you can't file anything else, you're just going to file that. So
Go
in essence,
figure.
unjust vexation simply means that if you do something that annoys or offends another person, let's say there's one unjust vexation, that's 1 month,
Which
and then
he
for the
did
theft charges
a
that were filed
lot.
against him, probably it's also going to be a month or two the most, considering the value of the things that he stole based on the video, the security guard's cap, the fan, is less
Yeah.
than 5,000. So more or less, it's a month or two for the theft, for each count of theft that's filed against him. If you've
What
seen
about
my
for the
video,
motorcycle?
yeah. So that's actually one thing, because if you saw my video about him, one of the things he did was when he took the motorcycle, the motor vehicle. So here in the Philippines, we have a special penal law for
You
that.
know,
So if you take a motor vehicle, including
I think
motorcycles
these are
here,
the
that's
worst ones,
automatically considered as carnapping, the crime of carnapping here. So the minimum penalty for that is 20 years right away.
Oh, okay. So do you think they'll
So
file that
this
charge against
might
him?
be what's getting
Based
him
on the
in
articles
trouble,
I've
you
read, they
know?
didn't file that one against him for some reason. So
It's
I'm
a
not sure.
lot,
I'm not
man.
exactly
He
sure.
did a
Maybe they'll
lot,
amend the
man.
charges along the way. They can do that. The prosecution can do that.
And then he also had the harassment that he did towards two of the guards.
Yeah,
but
and he
from
even
what I've seen,
tried
they
to
haven't
take the
filed
gun off
charges
of
against
one,
that.
If it's not
a
assault,
a
it goes down to what
policeman.
we
I mean,
call acts of lasciviousness here.
so
However,
that
it's
might
going to be
be
hard to
why
argue
people
that
are
there was
talking
like
about
a
25.
intent
You understand what I'm
on
saying?
Vitaly's part in that situation. So
I'm
most
glad
likely that can
I'm
fall
reacting
under
to this.
unjust vexation. That's why they
Right.
filed unjust vexation cases against him.
Makes sense. Okay, so the big thing that
This is
basically
It's a motorcycle.
very
yeah, the motorcycle is what
elucidating.
like could make or break his freedom here.
Yeah, because he actually took it.
Yeah.
He actually rode it. Then they started videoing. They wanted the security guard to go after him.
Yeah.
So the only issue from
Exactly.
how I see it in
I
that
mean,
case is
at least you
whether or not the
wanted
court
for him
will
to
actually
come.
consider the taking as there is intent to gain on his part, because
Yeah.
for theft cases, for carnapping cases, intent to gain is an essential element. So if it was
Yeah.
me, I can argue that there is clearly intent to gain on the part of Vitaly because he's a professional live streamer. So every time he does
Hmm.
some
Okay.
stupid act,
Oh,
then
Yeah.
it can be considered that he gains a lot from it, even though
from
it's not
it,
directly
yeah,
from the motorcycle, but from his profession, there's actual
yeah.
gain already. Although it's not guaranteed that the court will agree with me.
Yes,
However, if
but
this
I
will really
understand
push
what
through
he's
with the
saying.
case, it's what we call a case of first impression, meaning it's the first case of its kind involving streamers, content
There are
creators with
lots of ways
carnapping.
to put him in
So it's
trouble,
really
you
open for
know?
argument.
That's
So
what
if
he's
it was
trying
me,
to
that's
tell
going to
us.
be my argument. He's a professional content creator. He's a professional, uh, what do you call it now? Clout.
Yeah.
So
Man,
every
he
time he
didn't
does some
Streamer.
need
stupid
to be
criminal
in this
act, he knows that he
position, man.
gains
He
something
didn't
from it, and
need
it's not an indirect
this.
gain only. Since again, he's a professional clout. That's my
Yeah.
legal position on this, on
A-
that act
And
that he did.
if you were to defend him,
I don't want to
how
defend him.
right, okay. All
Why
right,
So
sounds good.
I'll be biased here, you know.
does
Since
Okay.
it look
he
like he's trying to
disrespected my
defend him?
country,
Yeah.
I'll let the other lawyers, or let him do his defending.
Their
I'll
job.
focus on the prosecution against him.
In regards to his cameraman, what do you think is going to happen to him as he lives in the
Oh,
Philippines?
Yeah, so he can be considered as an
this is
accomplice to
interesting
the
too.
crime. It can either
Okay.
be an accomplice or even also as a principal. Since
Yeah.
since he also participated,
Because
it will
he's
just
been
really depend
screaming
on
for
how
the
the case is
rooftops, then he has
presented in court,
nothing to
and
do with
up to what
it.
extent can the prosecution prove is the participation of the cameraman. But if you ask me, he can be held liable also, either as a principal
Yeah,
by cooperation or by an accomplice.
I mean,
Wow.
I would
Yeah,
think
so that's why
so.
he's hiding from the articles I've read. The cameraman's currently
Yeah,
in
it
hiding.
seems like he's kind of on the run now. He's
Yeah.
addressed
Yeah,
it, and
kinda.
he said that all the YouTubers are lying about him and that he's not wanted or for
Yeah.
questioning. But I'm not so sure if I buy that.
So we can see in the videos that he's the one, assisting Vital in committing those crimes. So
Yeah.
automatically that makes you either an accomplice or
Exactly.
a principal of the case itself.
Do you think it's likely that he will just get picked up by the
Nowhere to
police, or will they
run.
start asking him to turn himself in?
He won't get picked up right away because there's no immediate crime already that has been committed. It's been a while already now, so there's an intervening period already regarding the actual cases. So the police can conduct what we call a warrantless arrest.
Uh-huh.
So what they have to do now is they have to file charges against him
Warrantless
also.
arrest.
So just after we finished that interview, it's
Whoa.
now came out that his cameraman has officially been arrested.
Huh. Again, shout out to Tozy, but yeah, man, I only wanted to react to this video too, because I knew there was a lot of people confused, and I thought this was a good way to clarify the whole thing. But about this cameraman, for sure he's been asking for it too. I mean, he's been telling everyone that no one was after him and doing his own publicity stunt on other platforms. But man, let me tell you, I wish nothing but the best to this guy, and also to Vitaly, by the way. But this guy is really not trying to understand the seriousness of what he got into. I mean, it's not only what he did, but the fact he's also a Filipino. Man, I'm sure all of those people felt stabbed in the back. And even worse, because this guy knew exactly what he was doing. I clearly remember him saying that he even lost count of all the laws they broke. But yeah, man, I had to do another one for the Filipinos. Again, you guys are growing on my audience. Thank you so much. As usual, I'm not taking any longer. Like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'll see you guys on the next one.